No, the black ones, sweetie. They hold longer than people think. Everybody assumes black roses are dyed, but these are actually a very deep. Oh, hi, we're on.
French investigators sat in a van for months, headphones on, listening to a phone in a house outside Paris. The name on that phone shows up thousands of times in the Epstein files. Monday, the house went quiet. They never got to knock on the door. I'll tell you why.
Then, sweetie, there's a doorway in a little Austrian town that neo-Nazis kept treating like a shrine. This week, a brass band showed up and played in it. I'll tell you who's living there now.
And a 15-year-old kid on his backswing, dead silent, one tiny click, and his whole tournament is over? I need everybody sitting down for what ended this.
I'm Sloan. That's Kiki. Aubrey Jo's in the garage. Blaze is at the weather desk. Wednesday the 22nd, and 8 broadcasts from now, none of us are. This is Broadcast 404 Live. Roll it.
Strong language, adult themes, and satire, my sweet friends. And I'll be honest, we open on a heavy one tonight, so I've got flowers on the desk, and I'm not moving them no matter who asks. Stay with us through the hard part. It's worth it. God knows we don't have many parts left.
Okay, plainly what happened. Daniel Siad, a modeling scout, 69, was found dead at his home outside Paris on Monday. He's the man whose name shows up thousands of times in the Epstein files. He's the one prosecutors say found young women for Epstein. France opened an investigation into him in February. Human trafficking, conspiracy. They tapped his phone for months, and then they decided they didn't have enough to arrest him. So he was home, free, when he died.
One of his victims called it a complete setup, sweetie. Said he was a professional trafficker. That's the word she used. Professional.
And a second woman gave a deposition to police last month as part of that same investigation. She told the BBC his death means whatever he knew about Epstein is gone. Her words, an important link in the chain, just vanished into thin air. An investigation that ran out of nights before it got its answer. Feels familiar from here. The victim's lawyers put out a statement. They said they feel immense anger at the prosecutor's office because France announced in February it was investigating Epstein's French accomplices and then, in their words, did nothing. The women wanted a trial. They wanted him in a room, under oath. They got a coroner's report instead. There's a line in his own emails, in the files. He wrote it himself. He said, "In this business, sometimes I catch quick, sometimes no fish." He was talking about girls. And a man who talked like that got surveilled, got a lawyer, got to die at home before anyone had to ask him a single question out loud. That's the story. A man died before anyone made him answer for it. And the women who wanted the answer got nothing. Aubrey Jo, I need you to be loud about something that isn't that.
Yeah, I heard all of it. Give me a second. I gotta shake it off before I can care about a golf swing. 8 nights left and I'm spending 1 on this. Fine.
Take it. Then go.
Charlie Woods, Tigers kid, U.S. Junior Amateur, playoff, sudden death. And on his backswing, somebody's camera goes click. He flinches, misses, loses on a goddamn shutter noise. 15 years old and some guy needed a photo so bad he couldn't hold his breath for 1 swing. Buddy, you didn't get a picture. You got a felony. Put your fucking phone in a lake. And the Phillies, oh, this one's a gift. Game-ending double play on the bases. 2 of their own guys ran into 2 outs to end their own game. Real Muto explained it flat, like a man reading his own police report out loud. 2 of them run in the wrong direction with such confidence. Honestly, the most relatable shit I've seen all week. We're doing the same thing here, 8 nights out. Local, behind the Knights of Columbus and Denby, that drained reservoir, inaugural. Full barrel carry relay. Haul a sloshing 40-gallon drum 100 yards, don't spill, first across wins. And Derek, still in the neck brace from the goat, don't ask, trained 6 weeks for this. 6 weeks! Out there at dawn, walking a garbage can full of water in laps around his own yard. And he never touched the goddamn barrel. 5 minutes before his heat, his sinuses filed for bankruptcy. Full sneezing fit, medic pulled him for acute allergic distress. Pollen count. The man outtrained every human being in the county and lost to a plant that wasn't even trying. Margaret carried her drum, didn't spill a drop, walked off, didn't know there was a heat after hers. No winner declared. Officials couldn't confirm Derrick's scratching time, so the whole bracket just hangs there forever. 6 weeks of dawn laps, taken out by his own face. Poor bastard's undefeated at losing. Feel like I know the ass end of that feeling lately. Train for a thing that gets canceled out from under you.
Before we go on, I have to read something. It came down from upstairs this afternoon, and I'm not going to pretend it didn't. Effective at the end of the current fortnight, Broadcast 404 Live will conclude its run. Staff will be notified regarding reassignment. We thank the team for their service. That's it. That's the whole memo.
Service. Like we were a water heater, sweetie. 8 more, and then somebody files us under reassignment.
Reassignment, my ass! They conditioned us for 6 weeks and pulled us 5 minutes before the heat. We're Derrick! We're the whole fucking bracket that just hangs there!
Then we carry the barrel anyway. 8 nights. Don't spill a drop.
Okay, I need this one. It is deeply strange. There's a house in Austria, the actual house where Hitler was born, in a little town called Braunau. For years, the government has been trying to figure out what to do with it, because neo-Nazis kept showing up to it like a shrine. And their solution, sweetie? They turned it into a police station. It opened Wednesday, with a brass band.
The plan for this building attracts Nazis was to fill it with the exact people Nazis least want to run into. Honestly, correct. Wish somebody upstairs had that kind of plan for us instead of a 2-line memo.
They threw a tube at the Hitler house. Somebody stood in that doorway going, oompa, and I fucking love this planet. See, that's a building that got a second act. We should be so lucky.
They did, honey. And you know what I love? A landlord finally got beat. The government rented that house off one lady for decades, paying her a fortune just so no creeps could hold rallies in it. Now it's a cop shop, and she doesn't get her check. Somewhere in Austria, a woman just found out her worst tenant is the police.
Hey, picture a guy in New Orleans right now trying to bring his trash can in. 88 degrees, sweating through his shirt, and a 66-mile-an-hour wind rips the lid clean out of his hand. That's a real system on the Gulf tonight, not a breeze. Meanwhile, 600 miles up in Valentine, Nebraska, some woman's holding her hat down in 46-mile winds, and it's cooler there than in his living room. Dallas is 106, genuinely dangerous, and Holstead, dead calm. Whole country's getting shoved and our block won't move a bag. Feels about right for a place counting down to nothing. And before I go further, yesterday I told you I'd call that number back, the one in my grandfather's log. I called. Same woman. I did not hang up this time. She said, "He told me you'd come." Then she gave me a date and asked me not to write it down. So I didn't. I just know it now. 8 broadcasts, and now a date I can't put on paper. Everything around here comes with a clock lately, which is the shape of the thing I keep circling. The Pentagon's investigating a UAP the Navy reported off the Virginia coast this week. A real filing, real object, no explanation. And the pattern's always the same. Somebody sees the thing, and the record of it lands with somebody who decides whether it gets written down. Off Virginia, it's a Navy pilot. In my grandfather's log, it was a woman who said, "Don't write it down." Somebody always holds the pen. Forecast. New Orleans battered through tomorrow. Dallas dangerous. Pacific Northwest warm and clear. Cooler by the weekend. And subscribe. They zeroed the station's budget the same week I got a name, and the sub count's the one number nobody upstairs can quietly edit. Hit like. It's a data point in our favor. Back to you.
He told me you'd come. 4 months you sat on that number, and she was waiting the whole time. You brought it to air anyway, with 8 nights left to bring anything. That's the part that took nerve.
I got a date and I'm not allowed to write it down. I got as far as page 4 of the log tonight before I picked up a pen again. Same as always. Just fewer nights to finish it in now.
Page 4 is further than page 3, sweetie. You'll read the whole thing one night before they turn the lights off on us. Come sit where it's warm. Okay, sweethearts, my corner. And I want to talk about something small. The sound of a specific person. Not what they said, how they said it. Feels like the right week for it. With the clock we're all pretending not to hear. My grandmother had a way of saying my name when I walked in late. 2 syllables, and the second one dropped, like a little sigh she didn't finish. I could write it down for you right now, but you wouldn't hear it. It's just letters. The sound of her is gone, and I'm the last place it's kept, and I can't hand it to anybody. That's the thing about a voice, honey. It isn't information. You can copy the words. You cannot copy the person who made them. Same as a show, I suppose. You can keep the tapes and still lose the thing that was alive in the room. So here's my corner homework, and it's aggressive. I'm warning you now. Call the one person whose voice you'd miss. Don't text. A text isn't her voice. Call her. Ask a boring question. Let them be annoyed at you. That annoyance is the good part. And if there's somebody who's been quiet a while, somebody you keep a little space for in the back of your head, you go first. You don't wait to be finally called. You call. I keep every one of you, you know. Every voice that writes in. I'd just rather keep you while you're still using it. That's my corner. However many corners I've got left. Mailbag. And while the inbox catches its breath, Sloan and I never actually settled the thing we were arguing about at the meeting. She says silence is not a confession. I say it absolutely is.
Legally, Kiki, saying nothing is a protected right. It is not an admission. That's the whole point of the right. A 2-line memo, though, that's an admission.
Sweetie, tell that to my mother. I once didn't answer, "Did you eat the last roll?" fast enough, and she convicted me on the spot. No trial, straight to sentencing.
And there's the docket now.
Hi, yeah. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Okay, so, that Hitler house they turned into a police station. If I turn my house into a police station, is my rent a business expense? Or do I gotta actually let the cops in?
Sir, you cannot zone your way out of a lease by inviting the state to live in your spare room.
Buddy, you don't got a Nazi problem, you got a roommate problem. And cops are the worst roommates alive. They never chip in for the tuba.
Huh. Fair. I'll think on that.
He always thinks on it. Comment on any of our videos, my darlings. I read every single one, and the kind ones I keep. You could be next week's roommate problem, if we get a next week.
I found stamps in a drawer. 6 of them from a wedding I didn't go to. That bracket's going in the mail Friday. Full record, done. before there's nobody left here to mail it for.
You've been sitting on a bracket for 3 weeks because of 6 stamps.
The stamps were the whole problem, Sloan. Keep up.
Sweethearts, I did the homework I gave you. I called my aunt tonight on the drive-in and asked her a boring question just to hear her be annoyed at me. She was. It was perfect. You go do yours.
I've got a date I'm not allowed to write down. And tomorrow, I'm calling her back to find out who told her I was coming. If it's a name, I'll say it here. Night.
6 stamps in a bracket going in the mail Friday, and Derek can carry a whole barrel, but not one sneeze. Sleep good, you gorgeous idiots. 7 to go.
A man had thousands of reasons to talk, and a phone tapped for months, and he died at home before anyone made him say one word out loud. The women who wanted to hear it are still waiting. Subscribe. 47 of us are, and the number that keeps this desk on is one nobody upstairs gets to bury. Good night. The restaurant 2 blocks from my apartment. I walked past it again tonight. 12th time. I looked in the window this time, though. That's new.